Hey guys, today in Art Club with Miss Burford, we'll be making these spring origami flower pictures. You will need a sheet of flesh coloured A4 paper, a sheet of coloured card in your choice of colour, some green card, origami paper, a pencil, some scissors and a Pritt stick. This can either be done as a Mother's Day card craft or just as an individual picture. So if you are doing it for a Mother's Day craft, you'll want to fold your A4 sheet of card in half. If you're doing this just as a picture, I would suggest cutting down the card to A5 and just use it as a flat piece of card. But once you've really flattened down the edge, if you are doing a card, make sure it's nice and flat, ready to work on. Now we're going to work on the hand part of our picture. So on the flesh coloured paper, draw around your hand with your fingers spread out using a pencil. You also want to make sure that you draw your wrist and some of your arm until the corner of the paper. Cut this out and lay it on top of your card that you've got for your background. So think about where your thumb is going to be, so you want your thumb pointing upwards, and just think about where you want your hand to be. So I try and get it in the centre. It does not matter if your fingers are hanging over the edge, because we're going to fold these over when it looks like your hand is holding the flowers. When you are happy with the position of your hand, flip it over, add some glue to the back part of your hand where your palm would be, and then flip it back over and just rub it down gently to adhere to the card for your background. You can also add some glue to your arm and your wrist part. Don't worry if there's part of your arm hanging off the edge of the card, that's fine, we can sort that out after, and just make sure that you don't glue your fingers down. Next, think about where you want your stems of your flowers to go. You can do 2 or 3 stems, but to be honest, 2 is usually enough considering the size of the tulips. But cut this down to the size that you want them, so you might need to make them quite a bit shorter, but cut them into strips about 5mm to 10mm wide. So it will go between your thumb and your first finger. At the top of your hand will be wider, and at the bottom they may cross over. You might have them right next to each other. Just think about how flowers would sit within a real hand. Now we can think about what colour we want our flowers to be. So originally I thought yellow and blue because of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. But then I decided to go with yellow and purple because typical me, I like contrasting colours. But as you can see, the origami paper is already square, so I didn't need to cut this down to size. And I'm just going to lay it in the shape of a diamond or a rhombus, so that I got a point at the bottom, and I'm going to fold that up to the top point to make a triangle. Really fold the edge really flat, fold the fold really flat, so you've got a really good crease there, and try and match up all the corners so they all line up. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and do the same again. Make sure you really create a crease again. And now we're going to fold up the right side first. So you're going to fold up the right towards the top point, but make sure it splays out a little bit so it's slightly offline. And do the same with the left corner, fold it up but off center, and then you'll have these 3 points all facing upwards. And flip it over, and the 2 corners that were on the left and the right, just fold them in to create 2 smaller flappy triangles on the back. So when you turn it back to the front, you'll have a tulip shape with 2 flat edges on the sides. Then repeat this with your other piece of origami paper. Next, we can start securing everything into place. So you can glue down your flower stems, and then have a little look at your own hand and how your hand moves when you go to grip something. Really study where your fingers and your thumb sit, So if you notice, my fingers are all next to each other and my thumb sits over the top. We are now going to recreate that position of our hand with the paper hand. So fold your first finger over, allowing some space underneath the finger for you to put your real finger under, and just hold this into position and glue down the fingertip. Repeat this for each finger as you go down. So you want to fold over and glue, and then do the same with your thumb over the top at the very end. You can then move on to gluing your tulips into position. Use the glue stick to glue the flaps down on the back, and then spread the glue all over the back of the tulip and make sure that they sit at the top of each stem. Do not worry if your tulips are hanging off the edge of the card. The whole point in this is that your card's 3D, or if you're doing this as a spring picture, you can add a sheet of A4 card behind to create a border to your picture. It is time to sort that arm out which is hanging off your sheet of card. So flip your card over, and any of the flesh colour paper that you can see hanging around the edge of your card, cut this off. This is how the finished picture looks to go on the front of the card, or you can do it as just a picture on its own, and like I say, just add an A4 sheet of card behind as a border. I'll insert a picture here again, or you can write inside your card a lovely message for Mother's Day, or even do this as a good luck or a thank you card. You can use it for a number of things. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more art lessons like this every week, and other art related content every now and then. See you next week for more art with Miss Burford.